Good evening, my wonderful people. Good evening. I'm so excited. It's another day, another discovery time. Yay! To start with, how are you guys doing? How are you doing? I hope and trust you're doing fine by the grace of God. It's been a while. I'm so sorry we had to cancel last week due to situations above and beyond my control. I'm very sorry about that. At the last minute, things happened, and yeah, we had to postpone it. So please forgive me. It's one of those things that we can't control. But thank you all so much for your understanding. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. It's another week. I'm so surprised. Like, what? It's Wednesday again. Time flies. Time is really flying. I always say this, but it's just because, yeah, when you're so busy, it really flies actually very fast because it's like pam 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 pam. You are back and forth, in and out, so busy. And before you realize, it's just another Wednesday, another day again, another Thursday, another Friday, and well, we give God all the glory. We give Him for another opportunity to be relevant to Him, to be relevant to for His kingdom. We give God all the glory. Good evening, Destiny. Thank you so much. You are on time. I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. How are you doing, dear? Awesome. Thank you so much. Please help us do what we do best. Help us spread the word. Let people come. It's another day, another opportunity to learn together, grow together. As long as you're living, you must learn. If you don't learn, the day you stop learning, you start dying. My second daughter heard this and she was like, oh, Mama, do we then die? I said, no, my dear, you will not die a physical death, but you depreciate. You start going down. And before you know it, you know, your both your spiritual, emotional, everything starts depreciating. So that is what we call um, death. It's not a physical death, but it is quite serious. So as long as we are living, we must be learning, we must grow, relearn, unlearn, not because we knew it yesterday that it's still the same, because day in, day out, new things are coming. We are getting to know more and more. And so we relearn. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Destiny. Thank you. Thank you. Help me spread the word. Guys, we are live. It's another discovery time. Discovery time is here where we learn, where we uncover, where we discover both old and new things. Bring in remembrance what has already been, but maybe forgotten. Or maybe we know, but we pretend or wish not to know. Good evening, Benjamin. How are you doing? You're welcome, my dear. I hope you are all fine. You and the family, everyone is fine. You're all welcome. Please help spread the word. It's another awesome time. 2 weeks ago, we talked about self, we as a system. And the week before then, we talked about the order in diversity. That there is order in diversity. There is um, it's not for nothing. Diversity is not for nothing. And last 2 weeks, oh, thank you so much, Benjamin. We give God all the glory as well. And last 2 weeks, we discussed about we as the body, as humans. We are made up of three things: the body, the spirit, and the soul. And we are systems. The body in its own is a system. It's a system that you need to understand the system and how your body reacts. We don't all, your body system and my body system are not the same. There are some things you might take and it will work with you, it will work for you. But if I take it, my body might react. So there is system in it, and you cannot tamper with that system. You understand? That's why some people have allergies. Yeah. Someone might have allergy for dust, for uh, um, some flowers. You might not. It's how your body is wired to react to things. Yeah. It might be that it's lacking something, that's why it's reacting that way. We never know, but our body systems are not the same. The same with your soul, which is your emotions and your will. And so it's also, it works differently. It's wired differently, but it's also influenced externally. Good evening, Lydia. How are you doing? You're welcome, my dear. You're welcome. I've missed you all, seriously. Thank you all for being here. And I'm so sorry once again for last week. These are, one of those things that we don't have control over, and then you just have to submit, submit to the situation at hand and say, well, there is nothing we can do about it. So, or our attention is needed elsewhere urgently. So, yeah, those are those things. Thank you for your understanding. Thank you, Lydia. God bless you. So yeah, I'm just doing a recap of what we've been doing so far, the topic of this month, and I can't believe this is the last Wednesday of the month. And the topic of this month is the importance of order. Order is something that we cannot think out of anything that we are doing. I believe we defined order as giving structure, as giving guidance, and also as something that without it there is absolute chaos. The opposite of order is chaos, and so there is chaos without order. There is dysfunction without order. And I took the example of diversity, that there is order in diversity. And because nothing is created without a purpose. Everything has a purpose. And God created things differently for their purposes. And so even though if they fulfill the same purpose, their function or how they are to fulfill that purpose is different. And we should not ignore that. The same with ourselves, the same with we, which we discussed last 2 weeks. We are systems on our own. I mean, if you should take the way the DNA is coded, if the DNA, even scientists cannot, they cannot completely decipher the all the codes in DNA. They cannot completely decipher it because it's billions of codes. I mean, imagine that, billions of codes in a single DNA structure. How is that even possible? And how can this not be by an intelligent creator? How can this not be? I mean, if we should think about it very deeply, and like we came out of Big Bang, how can this code be so, so special, so much, but so precise in each and every one of us, that if they tamper with the DNA, which some are busy doing, if they tamper with the DNA, the way the structure of the DNA, and they are not, actually, it's not they are not, because they can't predict what they are tampering with, the effects that it's going to give, how it's going to influence the other cells and the other codes. It cannot be predicted. And so if they tamper with it, they there is a big chance they are actually tampering with your whole system, with the results that they cannot predict or foresee. And that is what is going on now in our, you know, today or present day life. That is what is going on. We are living in the experimental phase where a lot of things is being experimented with, including our systems. And it's so dangerous. On the other hand, you have those that want to remove everything that weakens us, to create superhuman beings that live longer. On the other hand, you have those that, um, well, I don't know how to say it, but maybe do away with all the weak people. Um, it might sound somehow, but that is what is going on, in our today life, and we must open our eyes. We must be vigilant. Um, we must become aware of what is going on around us, and that's why I believe, these topics are coming up. You are a system, and so whenever there is, your system is tampered with, something happens. Like if your body wants to signal you, hey, I'm overworked, the body shuts down in a way. It gives you many signals like you need to rest. It breaks you down either through sickness or just overwhelming your body. You feel so overwhelmed, and you know that I no, I need rest. It gives you enough signals to tell you need to rest now, or you are going to be out for a long time. So in us, there are already codes building us to warn us, to give us signals when something is not right. And so when they are tampered with without proper attention, think about the example that I gave about the fish. When the fish is taken out of its natural habitat, placed in a different condition, we, because it's in a different condition, that fish will not survive. It will not survive, sorry, it will not survive in that condition. So you want, if your system is tampered with without the proper care, you might also not survive. Those are the things we need to become aware of. I also spoke about the system of the soul and the spirit, and they work differently. But the most important thing, I believe, there is chaos if all these systems are not working together, are not aligned with each other. There is dysfunction. Like you as a person, you dysfunction. You feel you are not complete. You feel you are not. Why? Because there is something in you that is, you are not one with yourself. What is being one with yourself? That both the body, the soul, and the spirit are aligned together and working as one. They are in, you know, synchronized. And so they work as one. The body knows what the spirit wants through the soul. The soul is the interconnector of the two. And so the soul connects what the spirit is communicating to the body, and the body submits to it. And that is where basically the difficult part, the submission of the body to the spirit. That is the difficult part. Because if the body and soul don't work together in submission, there will always be chaos. Good evening, Bisola. You are welcome. How are you doing? And your children? I hope they're all doing fine. You're welcome, dear. My day has been fine. It has been fine. Thank you. It's just quite busy. But we thank God. We give God the glory for everything, for the strength that He has given us. So, yeah, it is well. So, like I was saying, if your body and soul do not align with the spirit, there is chaos. You are not at peace. But if they align together with the spirit, then you are at peace with yourself. Now, very importantly, your spirit must have somewhere it feeds itself. And that's what we are going to focus on today. You know, there are systems. You operate in a system. You are a system operating in a system. The world we live is a system on its own. And in that system, there are different systems. That's why I started with us. You are different. In you are three systems. In the world that we live in, we have different systems. The world in itself, it's a global system. It's a big system. It's a worldly system. You have the cosmos, which is also different systems in its own. It's different world. The cosmos is different worlds, and it's different. There are different systems operating in the cosmos, which the world, Earth, is part of the cosmos. And so, as Earth, there are systems in place, putting in place by the Maker, which we call the nature. You have the nature, which has its own system inbuilt in it. Everything in nature is operates by its own system. And when you tamper with it without proper care, you disorganize the system. There is then a disorder in nature. The same thing with the system, the world system that we live in. Now, if we talk about the world system, we have different systems, like the political system. It's a different system on its own. You have the economical system. You have the social system. They are all different systems operating in one big system. And so, what influences you as a person, what influences your choices, which also your soul, depends on which system you are operating in, which system you are brought up in, which system you are indoctrinized in, which system you are programmed in. Don't forget, whatever system you are brought up in, you are programmed in it. It's like computer being programmed. You are programmed in it. So depending on which system you have grown up or you have been taught, education is a system. Education, it's a system. And so based on what is being taught, that becomes your knowledge, that becomes your understanding, that becomes what you grow up and feed on and actually also pass on. It's a system. So you need to become aware of all these things because they have their origin somewhere, and they have also a purpose. Don't forget, nothing is created without a purpose. God created nature, diversity, everything with a purpose, for a purpose. I mean, for a purpose. And the system, the man-made system, is also for a purpose. Education is for a purpose. And so you must become aware which type of books, what are we being taught, history, all those kind of things. Where are they coming from? And to what purpose are they serving? Political systems. I live in Belgium, and I can tell you that Belgium is a very small country, but the political system is very complicated. Very complicated. And I studied it. I did political science. I studied it. But it's so complicating in the sense that you don't have two parties. It's not like you have two parties that you say, okay, either I vote for A or B. You don't have three parties. There are a lot of parties. And then it's also organized in the regions. You have the Wallonia side, you have the Flemish side. It's very, very complicated. So you cannot compare that system with a system like, for example, in Nigeria or Ghana. We can't compare it, or even a system like in UK or in America. They are all different. They are all different. And the system in Belgium was put in a place for a purpose because of their differences, because of the how should I say, the inner fight that was going on. They created this system so that they somehow will always have to have form a coalition. They have to form a coalition to govern the country, to keep the country together. It's very, very complicated system. So they needed to set this system up for that purpose, to keep the country together, so that no one party can have his way. Every system is put in place for a reason. The justice system is a system, and it's a system that has its own rules and regulations. Having said that, you know, every system has principles governing it, right? It has principles building it, the conditions through which, if it's fulfilled, then you get a result. That's the system. The system works together. You have different mechanisms working together for a purpose. If one is missing, then there is a dysfunction. There is a dysfunction somewhere, and so it must be corrected. So all the systems that I'm naming, if you take a country for example, they are put in there for a reason. Because what the justice system tackles with, the financial system cannot tackle with it. What the educational system tackles with, the social system, let me say it this way, is not going to tackle with all those things. Why? Because that is left over for the educational system. And so they are putting in place for reasons, for certain purposes. And you must understand why those purposes are there, why those systems are in place. Order. Order. Because without all these things in place, what do you get? Without all these things in place, in the first place, there's going to be chaos. But when there are systems in place operating, you automatically know. No one will tell you, oh, when a child is 3, start looking for a school, for example, or take your child to a school to be educated. Why? The system is there. You can choose yourself how your child is educated. You can choose yourself. But sometimes, due to how the systems are organized, we think that's the only way. And so we just, go along. We go along with how things are organized. We go along with it without pausing to think, wait, but is there maybe another way possible? Or maybe, yes, I can see, but maybe there are other choices. Yes, there are choices for schools, obviously, but maybe there is maybe another way of educating. But the systems are there, so we just do what we subscribe to them. Now, any system you subscribe to, some weeks ago, the lesson I thought about, whatever you subscribe to is what works for you. Exactly, Lydia. Without a system, there will be, serious disaster. The army is placed for a purpose. The army, every country has army. Even the countries that are neutral. You know that? Belgium is a neutral state, but Belgium has an army. Belgium is supposed to be neutral. They are protected or should be protected by the NATO and so forth. They are neutral countries, but they have their armies. Why? They are there for reasons. The police is there for a reason. Now, the police is a result of the justice system. The police is a result of laws. Because whenever you have a system, there are laws governing it. Don't do this. If you do that, this is what is going to happen. Don't do that. If you do that, this is what is going to happen. Now, in the order of nature, it's inbuilt. In the order of nature, it is what? It is inbuilt. And so if you go against the laws that is already inbuilt in the nature, you face the consequence. It's there. You will see the result immediately. The fish, you take the fish out of it naturally because that's not what is meant for the fish. If you go against the laws in nature, automatically what the nature is supposed to produce for you, it will not. What the result supposed to be that is there inbuilt in it, it will not. So there is already control mechanism in the nature itself. There is already what we call policing in nature, inbuilt in nature itself. Now, when we come to our day-to-day life, the system that we operate in as body, being influenced and all that by our with through our souls, it is difficult to govern ourselves. It is difficult. Why is there a political system? Why are there people that we have to elect to make laws to govern us? Why? Now, we as a people, we agree to give up our freedom. Yes. We agree to give up our freedom to for the maybe say for the common good. Why? If each and every one of us are to claim our rights or have our will prevail, it's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaos because no one is going to respect the right of the other. No one. And that's why you need system in place to help us control ourselves. So it means unknowingly we have subscribed to a system and given up part of our freedom in order actually to be more free. I'm going to repeat it again. We have given a part of our system in the hope, let me put it this way, in the hope to be, more free, because you are then free to move and do what you want in respect with the other. If the other does not respect your will, your right, there is a system there that will hold the other responsible. And so it gives you somehow a peace of mind because there is a system that is supposed to protect you as it is protecting the other. I put supposed to because we all know that the systems don't always work as they're supposed to, right? They don't always function as they're supposed to because there are biases in the system. There are manipulations in the system. Depending on where you are coming from, if you can pay your way out, certain, in some ways, in some systems, you actually go scot-free with a lot of things. So in some systems, it doesn't work as it's supposed to, but they are there. And that is what it's meant for. It's meant to actually protect the freedom of all, not the freedom of a few, the freedom of all. But then you must subscribe to it. Now, when you go to a country and you get the nationality, yes, my dear Lydia, there are a lot of things in systems. When you go to a country and you subscribe to the country, you subscribe to their laws, you subscribe to everything. When you take the nationality of that country, you are subscribing to their laws. And so you must submit to whatever laws that is what there. Because that is what is, that is what is governing the system. Without laws, the system collapse. Without laws, the system collapse. Good evening, Debbie. How are you doing? You're welcome, my dear. The system is built. We are still on the topic of systems. You're welcome. Without laws, the system collapse. The laws are built based on the type of system that is operating. You know, if we are talking about the political system, the way um, the let me say the communist system works, it's not the same as the way that the democratical system is supposed to work. The way the how should very authoritarian regime works is not the same as the way that, again, democratical system is supposed to work. I'm putting all this supposed to because we all know that it doesn't work how it's supposed to. In theory, it's awesome. Everything in theory is awesome. But then the laws are made based on the system that is supposed to, um, be there, and the laws govern the system. So when the laws are not up, when you're not upholding the laws, you're actually causing serious damage to the system, because the system suffers then what we call malfunction. When you buy a material, or no, when you buy, yes, when you buy a material, they tell you how to, it's labeled in there what kind of pressure to use when you are washing it. Yeah, if you want to wash it by machine, not to put it on a higher temperature and so forth. It's written there in the label. Most of it. It's also written what kind of number of iron we should use. That is the law for that material. That is the law. So the material is the system, how they made it and everything. That's the system. But that's the law. How you're supposed to, don't wash it with other colors. Don't. It's the law for that material. So if you disregard that law and wash with other colors, the result is on you. The result is on you. Why? Because it is you that's disregarded the law. The law is there to protect the material and you to enjoy it longer. So if you disregard it, it's on you. That's the functions of laws. And based on the laws, rules and regulations are made. Now, what are rules? How to handle, how to operate, what we call norms, how to behave. Those are the rules. The rules are made based on the laws. And so this is how you have to. This is how here we do it. Oh. This is how here we act. Oh. This is our what? Culture. Culture is a system. And culture is giving birth to based on how things are done in a system. Culture is the, if you want to know the system at a place, look, study the culture. If you study the culture, you will understand, or it will bring one or two things to light, because the culture tells you what the the values in the at that place, the values that is the values that operate the systems. The culture will tell you. The culture of a place will tell you. So how we read, how we work, how we handle, how we do things, is it now? It's culture. If they come to the African culture, you realize that we have a lot of things in common, like respect for the elderly and so forth. There is a lot in common that the African culture, we have. But then when you go deeper, you see differences. And then you realize, these people are from this place because they do this and that way. These people are from that way. Why? Because they do it this and that way. That is what differentiates us in a way, like how we do things, the culture. And so culture is so important when it comes to understanding systems. That is when it comes to us here on earth. Now you have also the spiritual system. The culture influences our soul, and therefore how we act is actually, it comes from where? Our soul. Culture influences our soul. It influences our perception of things. The knowledge, what we get and everything, it's in the culture. The educational system is determined by the culture. And vice versa, the education also influences the culture. So if you want to have an understanding, okay, my dear Lydia, thank you so much. I hope to see you soon. Thank you for joining this evening. So, if you want to have an understanding of um, how, as a place, or how you yourself, what is influencing you as a system to operate in the systems around you, you must become aware of the culture that you are in, how it is influencing your thinking, how it is influencing your decision making, and therefore your choices. Very important. Now, at the same time, we also have the spiritual system. The spiritual system, like last time we said the spiritual influences, or actually has more of impacts the physical more. But if you don't have an understanding of the spiritual system, you will also not know how or where your spirit actually is connected to, and therefore influencing you as well. Because as spiritual beings, you must be connected somewhere. Your spirit must have roots somewhere. And I'm praying and hoping that it will be connected to the source, to the greatest architect of all, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. That's my hope and prayer. It must be connected somewhere. Now, within the spiritual um, system, you have two systems. You have the system of light and you have the system of darkness. And so, which system you subscribe to now determine your culture, your spiritual culture. Which system you subscribe to, either the system of light, there are what? Principles governing it. There are laws in the system. And out of those laws comes, norms or rules on how to behave. The same thing goes with the system of darkness. There are in that system there are also laws, and in both, like we have police, we have security, we have governing, making sure enforcing the laws. You also have agents in both sides of the system enforcing the law. You have both sides. We call this one agent of darkness, we call this one angel. You have both sides, agents enforcing the laws governing the systems. You must have an understanding of it so that you will know which one are you subscribed to. There is no middle. No, 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 no. You must take a side. That's the whole. You must choose. You must choose. There is no middle way. There is no how. Okay, a little bit here and a little bit there. There isn't. And so you must make a choice. And when you make the choice, you completely submit to whatever rules that is coming out of the laws governing that system. Good evening, peace. How are you doing? You're welcome, my dear. I'm doing fine by His grace. Thank you. You're welcome. How are you doing? You subscribe to that place, you subscribe to the rules regulating it. And those rules now influences what your spirit, and your spirit influences your soul, and it now have effect on your body. You're welcome, my dear. It's better late than never. You're welcome. It now has influences what the choices that you make, because there are rules there. You can't just act anyhow in no system. Let's bring it back to the system here. You have the red light. Now, I know in Africa we take a lot of risk and we disregard the red lights most of the time. But then also you see the effect of disregarding the simple law. Don't cross the red light. Why? There is a chance that you will meet a car will hit you, accident. There is high chances of accidents. So don't do it. Now, if you want to try it, it's what? Your own risk. You do it, unfortunately, you face then also the effect of it. If they tell you don't steal, now don't steal is it's both spiritual and physical. Don't steal simply means don't take from someone something that does not belong to you without what asking them. If you take it, you are depriving them from the use of it. And so you deprive them from maybe what they wanted to use. And so for there to be order and therefore freedom for them to use how they want it to use, don't just take it. You can ask if they want, they give it to you. If they don't want and they're using it, also fine. It's not yours in the first place. But once you steal, you have breached that safety. You have broken some principle there. And so the law do what? The law comes and catch you and say, well, you stole. So what's your punishment? Jail time. A time is taken off your time for breaching the other, for breaching the freedom of the other. A time is taken off your time. Your freedom is limited, because in jail there is no, your freedom is limited. So your freedom is limited. Why? Because you rob the other of their free use of their things. That's the effect of stealing. And then you have the spiritual, you know, consequences as well if you steal. Now, stealing, what you did, that act, might have been from the perspective of the person that stole, maybe a desperate act for survival. Let's put it that way. They need to survive, and so for them to survive, they thought the best way is to go and steal. The law says no, you should not steal. You should not steal. The best way, ask. If you have good people, they will give. Ask. Now, if you bring it to the spiritual system, isn't it actually what it's saying? Ask and it shall be given. So you see that our earthly system is, like, how should I say it? Is organized in a way that the spiritual system is also organized. Only in the earthly one, you have what? Emotions attached to it. You have selfishness, greediness attached to it. And so it becomes corrupted. It becomes manipulated, because the purpose that it's supposed to fulfill becomes self-centered purpose. And that's why it's very important on here, when you are subscribing to certain systems, to have the understanding to what purpose was this system created in the first place. What is the system serving? Is it really serving my interest as well as the interest of others, or is it just to serve the interest of a few? You must understand what you are subscribing to. You don't just subscribe to any house system, because they have their purpose. Culture is everything that we know now, right? Music, um, the media, education, it's all influenced by culture. That's what we call, when you go to most places, they call that what? Culture. Does it surprise you if you listen before, in we still have it, but unfortunately it's becoming a bit less. In Africa, we used to have very good cultural music. In Europe now, before, they still have it, what they call the Euro Song Festival. And before I used to enjoy it, because it made me to learn different cultures through the music. That was the whole thing. It was about celebrating the different cultures within you know, in Europe. And so then every single artist was showing their culture, what is typically theirs. So they were singing in their own mother tongue, and it made it awesome. It was beautiful to see, beautiful to listen. Although the voting, you when it comes to the voting, then you see the bias in the system, because you see neighboring countries voting more for each other, and when it comes to the other side, the neighboring countries vote more for each other. So you see that even though the system is made to celebrate the different culture, there is still bias in it. Now, Eurosong Festival is not what it is anymore. And it's not surprising, because if you look at the culture at hand now in Europe, you'll see what it is what portraying. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. And that's why we back in Africa, we need to stand up, we need to wake up. When you are listening to a certain music, which culture is it portraying? Which culture is it propagating? Music is propaganda tool. Education, media, everything. So what is it propagating? Which system is it propagating? Now, don't forget, I said that spiritual systems are what the ones having or governing the system. And that's why the Bible said, though you live in the world, you are not of the world. Though you live in the world, you are not of the world. Which system, which world is it talking about? Though you live in it, you must know yourself. You are from a different what? Kingdom, a different system. And so, though you are here physically, there is a different system you are subscribed to that is supposed to work through you. Which system are you subscribed to? Which system is influencing you? Which culture are you celebrating? When children are brought up in different homes, you know that every home has its own culture based on what the mother knows, what the father knows. They come together, they form their own, they make their own culture. So even in how should I put it, in a whole system, you still have little mini systems. The culture of a family reflects the culture in the place or where they come from. So what they subscribe to as being what, that which they, that which they love, or that which they, their roots, their source, what they know, what they've been brought up with. That is what they push through to their children. So no matter where they are living, that which they know, they give it, they pass it on to their children. Like, hey, this is. But the children are growing up in a different environment, so they pick up what the papa know, what the mama is saying. They pick up all that, and then based on also what they now come to subscribe to in schools, what they get to, um, be socialized with, that begins to what, influence them, influence their choices, influence their thinking, influence their mindset. The system, absolutely, Lydia, the system you subscribe to matters a lot, because that is what is going to make you or break you. The system you subscribe to influences your everything, because if it influences your soul, it has actually gotten you. Your soul is where you make your decisions from. And so whatever has the upper hand of your soul has gotten you. That's why it is a battle over souls. It is a battle over souls. Both in every system. If you can get a people to give up their freedom, to subscribe to a system, you've gotten them, right? Even though it is for what, their own freedom, it is for their own good, it is for all the political systems, it's normally supposed to be for the good of the people. Am I right? Traditions, culture, they are supposed to be the good of the people. But it becomes how, when it's abused, the people suffer. Before we used to have, and we still have it, but they are not as powerful as before, when we have chiefs, kings over, um, over clans and tribes. We still have the tribe leaders, but they are not as powerful as, in the olden days now, because of the political systems. So there is a kind of like, in Africa, for example, you have parallel systems. You have the political systems, and you have still have the traditional systems still in place. Though the traditional systems must, in most cases, bow to what, the political system. When it comes to push, the political system has the upper hand. So the traditional system has become a little bit of, it is there, but unfortunately, it, how should I put it? Unfortunately, it depends on how we want to take it and how we want to look at it. But in every system, it is how it's being operated. It is how it's being um, governed that makes it, you know, that makes it or breaks it. When you have good leaders in both political, in both systems, it benefits all. But when you have greedy leaders, what does it do? It destroys also all. So in both systems, you have the pros and the cons, but the one thing that I find, one thing that I am regretting a bit in our African system is that we are taking over different systems that we don't really understand. Like I said, the Belgium system is very complicated. So if you're looking at the Belgium political system from afar and you think, oh, this is very good and so forth, you don't understand it, you will make big mistakes. big mistakes, because you don't know the origin, why, what came about, why they have this system, where it came from, the history that made them write the constitution that they are operating on. You have no idea where that history came from and why they are keeping it this way. So if you just look at it and be like, oh yes, let's, modernization or um, innovation, according to some, and so you subscribe to a system, you have no understanding, you don't know where it's coming from, which system it's rooted in. You are subscribing ignorantly, and unfortunately, you are also going to pay the price in ignorance. So we must be very careful which system you subscribe to. We should not just be taking over things because it is what propagated as the best. Before Western civilization, there was civilization. Before Western civilization, there was civilization. But now, if you read history, history will tell you differently. Why? It is written by system, and therefore they portray their own history in a different light. And so yours that you're supposed to be celebrating or that you're supposed to subscribe to is pushed out. We know very little of most of our own histories. I remember in Ghana, in secondary school, um, we were almost we like almost then I don't know now, but then you were forced to learn like the capitals. Every country of the world, almost every country, you knew the capital. You should know the capital by heart. It was part of our, and it was a good thing. Why? Because we should not be ignorant. We should not be ignorant to our situation. Like now, you ask someone what is the capital of, they'll be telling you different stories. They'll be telling you different stories like, huh? And when I came here, I realized that how we studied, those things so tediously. That's not how here they are studying. That's not how here they are doing it. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. But I prefer then how we were meant to study so broadly, because it doesn't limit you in any way. But the view over here is that the education over there is low. That was the view. The education over there is low. But I knew things that people my age then didn't know. And yet our education is viewed as low. Why? Systems. Systems. Because there is no guarantee of what we are studying. And also, you must be very, very blessed. Like with the teacher that you got that time, with the also the schools that you go to. But I realize it's the same thing over here. It's the same thing over here. Yet the one is considered higher than the other. Why? Systems. How you may allow things to influence your thinking, your mindset determines a lot. It determines a lot. And so be very careful which system you are subscribed to, my dear people. Be very careful, because we are not living in a void. You are not a void. You exist in a system full of systems, governed by a greater system. So we must become aware of all these things, because we don't just, life is not just like, it doesn't just happen. I keep repeating this. Life doesn't just happen. You don't live in a void. You are not, and you are not empty. You are not empty. There is something in you called soul and spirit. And in your soul, you have all the goodies, you have all the wonderful things, but you must know which system you are allowing to influence, to build, to make the soul work properly, so that your body will yield the right results. When I talk about, you know, diversity being a blessing, this is part of it. You are different. Your body system is different than mine. But because it's different does not make us, abnormal. Abnormal. It doesn't make us abnormal. It makes us perfectly well, just that we don't like the same things. That is what they call preference. It doesn't make you less human. It just makes you like different things. It's a thing of a like. It's a thing of a preference. It has got nothing to do with the core of who you are, because we are this at the core, we are all the same. At the core, we are all the same. We are body, we are souls, we are spirit, we are all the same. But how we now, experience the systems and allow the systems to operate us is what makes us different. It's what makes us different. And God, in His infinite mercy and wisdom, created us differently for a purpose. The purpose that you are to fulfill is different than the purpose that I'm to fulfill. But we need each other. We need each other. Because what you are to fulfill is to benefit me. Joy, good evening. Indeed, oh, you are welcome. God bless you. I'm about to round up. It is well. So what you have to offer, what you have, the core of who you are, and we are to fulfill the same, but different ways maybe, but we are to fulfill the same. And that you are of a different skin tone, as they have made us to believe, does not make us less human. We are all from one human race. One human race. Different pigmentations, but one human race. That's the diversity that God created in His own wisdom to fulfill different functions in His own wisdom. It doesn't make us less different. It doesn't make us lesser. No. But you must know and understand the systems that are operating around us and the purpose of those systems that are operating around us, so that you will somehow be able to break free, break loose from any system meant to keep you at a certain place, to keep you at a certain place for the benefit of another. Because that is not what they are normally meant for. That is not what they are supposed to mean. Anyway, I'm going to round up here. Are there any questions? If there are any questions or contributions, please feel free. Let them flow. If there are not next week, am I? We're already in September. Wow. Um, I need all of your prayers because God being so faithful, by the grace of God, next week we are starting with the school, a secondary school here in Belgium. I've been working so hard on it. Um, it has not been easy, and it's still not easy. But by the grace of God, we are moving forward. And yeah, I am excited at the same time, also, like, the healthy tension, um, the healthy, anxiety maybe is there. But I need all of you to keep us in prayers, help us that we will take ground in the system of education because it's so important. It's so, so important. It's a system, and we need to be involved in the system. We need to be involved in the culture. We need to be involved in a lot of systems. And we are starting with this one by the grace of God here. And so Monday, coming Monday, is who a different ball game. And so we are going to, yeah, push it and pray that God guide and help us. So remember us, remember us in prayers as well. It's it's a good um vision. It's a good program, and it's meant to help our children both spiritually, academically, socially, to build them up, in a way that they can stand and know, understand the systems, and be of influence, impact those systems as well. So we give God all the glory. Thank you so much. Thank you. We give God the glory. It is well. That's, I don't know if you guys have seen it. That's Kingdom International Secondary School. I've been trying to send some things around. It's called Kingdom for a Purpose. Kingdom International Secondary School. And it's a bilingual school, English Dutch. And we offer excellent, excellent curriculum. Unfortunately, it's meant for people here, but who knows? Maybe God will help us to open it up online as we grow. But for now, we are trying to influence, impact the systems here, and help our children. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you all so much. So keep us in prayers, because we are really wanting to reach, you know, um, those that need it. We are also, the fee is very low, so we are kind of like gathering support anywhere and anyhow we can to be able to make it affordable, um, for those that really need it but cannot pay the very expensive international schools, because it's not easy. There is no funding for international private schools, and this is a Christian private school. So, yeah. So we are busy on it. So please pray for us that, as we push, God will provide all that we need so that the children can enjoy a good education. Thank you. Voila. So that's what is going to happen next week. And next week also I'll be coming with a new topic. I don't know yet. Though I wrote some things down, but I don't know which direction that God will take us to. So we wait and see by the grace of God, um, which topic He wants me to bring after this. So I've realized that most of the topics have actually been followed. It's like sequence. And so sometimes when he gives it over, I'm like, oh, whoa, it links with so we'll see what September, the topic for September will be, and then I will let us know. All right. Thank you all so, so much for your show of love. God bless you. Yeah, I've been working on it for a long time, and it's still going to take long work. We have been working on it. The team that I have, that God has blessed me with. Um, so it has not been easy, but we are pushing. We are pushing. And God will continue to make a way. Amen, amen, and amen. Thank you all. Amen. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Thank you. So, Joy, as a teacher, I will maybe be calling on you to give us one or two things. Yes, right. Thank you so much. Honestly, I really appreciate you all. God bless you and hope to see you very, very soon. I don't take your time for granted. I really don't take you guys for granted. So thank you. Thank you for your show of support. Thank you for your love. And thank you for helping us. Help us in all so that the word, so that we'll spread the word, and a lot of people also will benefit from this. You know, some it's just today I was going through some of the videos, and my daughter was like, "Wow, Mama, this is actually good." And I stood there and I said, "Yeah, yeah, well, it is. I don't know, um, but I strongly believe that a lot of people need to hear messages like this. So please help us to spread the word so that more people will hear. And you never know who it might bless. You never know who it, you know, that one that it will touch to become. Because that's what this is all about, to become who we are, ordained, we are purposed, we are like designed to be, that God will help us. And it's there's no one way, or it's through here, through a little bit of there, and through a word that you might hear that will push you to do something, to discover yourself, to um, take that bold step, and to become more aware of your surroundings. You never know who it will help. So please, thank you for helping us to spread the word. I see all of you. I see you doing great job. Peace, Bisola, Joy. I see, and Ruth. I see you all doing great job in sharing. But continue to do it, and God will bless you. Thank you so so much. I'll see you all next week. Take care. God bless. And yeah, you guys know I don't like saying things a lot. Just keep an eye on the post. You will see something coming up. Maybe not today, but the next. Something will be coming up for you all. Thank you so so much. God bless you. God guide and protect you. And if Jesus tarry, we'll see each other next week again. God bless. Good night. Bye.